Most of what the motivational speakers and the motivational programs sell to people, and this is just my perspective, there's an advocacy, there's an assumption that your ideas about changing things in the outside world, like going from non-successful to successful, or not having a house to having a house, or not having a relationship to having a relationship, that the inner changes are made in order to accomplish some goal involving the outside world. Yeah, it's like real results, Mike. Correct. And as a process, it's problematic because of the starting assumption that the goals being generated in relationship to the outside world are coming from a creature who has inside world integrity enough and information enough to be able to speak about the appropriateness of the rearrangement of circumstances in the outside world. In other words, I know what I need, I know what this place needs, I know what I should stir up, motivational energy to try to achieve. And how do I know that I know that? So the work that I do is actually, let's not go to the outside world just yet to see what you want to, kind of order up as a legitimate goal, positively motivated goal. Before you decide you want a relationship, before you decide you want, you commit to that, getting that house on the hill or that job promotion or career change or that degree in school or what have you. Before you commit to that, because we have this ability, let's use it. Let's look in the mirror and decide who the goal creator, let's get clear about who the goal creator is. Yourself. You're creating the goal. So this way you don't find yourself 3 years into college saying, what the hell did I pick this for? You don't find yourself being an attorney at age 45 feeling suicidal because the job's so unsatisfying. You don't find yourself in the world's worst relationship saying, why did I ignore all the red flags? The chances of your success don't rely just on your vim and vigor and energy that you can put behind this. That's what the motivational speakers lead you to believe. Like you're already okay, your goals are already good. You just don't know how to get enough drive energy or something together. That's the change they're asking you to make. I'm asking people to consider that the platform on which they stand, they should look underneath the platform and find that the scaffolding, does or does not support the story that's being told on the stage. Are you lined up so that the story you're telling about your goals are true and congruent and involve all the information that you have at your disposal? Is this a fully informed decision inside yourself? So this piece of self-examination, so I'm gonna take a random person on the street and I'm gonna say, tell me one of your really important goals and I'll tell you how to get it. And they tell me and it doesn't matter. And I say, you got to find the fire. And they pay me $100. Thank you. And they go home looking for the fire and they burn themselves to death. In other words, find the fire to do what? I hardly even listened to their goal. I didn't give much thought to whether it was congruent with who they really are. I have no idea who they really are. But as they're a random person on the street, I can also suggest, I bet you they don't know who they really are. So this is motivational understanding that's of a whole different nature and a whole different order than the standard discussion about how to motivate people. I don't know who the people are, and I know that the people who I'm trying to motivate don't know who they are. So we have to do that first.
We live in this world that's just obsessed with motivation, right? It's a huge industry all built around helping us get what we want. But what if the entire way we think about it is kind of backwards? Today, we're going to dig into that and challenge a huge assumption about chasing our goals.
We've all heard this a million times, haven't we? From motivational speakers and books, maybe even from our friends. It's the standard advice. Just find that fire. Dig deep, find more drive, more energy, and you can do anything.
Okay, but here's the question that changes everything. What if all that effort, all that fire, is pointed in a direction that's just fundamentally wrong for you? This is the powerful idea from clinical psychologist Dr. Michael Lukens, and believe me, it's a game changer. So let's talk about the usual approach. Most motivational stuff, it's all about the outside world. You know, get the promotion, buy the house, find the perfect partner. The whole game is just laser focused on getting those external results. And right there, that's the problem. See, these programs, they all start with this huge, unexamined assumption. They just take for granted that the goal you've picked is actually the right one for you in the first place. They assume you already know yourself well enough to know what you truly need. And according to Dr. Lukens, that is a really dangerous assumption to make. It presumes we all have enough self-knowledge, he has this great term for it, inside world integrity, to set the right goals. But what if we don't? Okay, let's break this down. The standard way of thinking is basically, your goal is good, now just throw more energy at it. Simple. But Dr. Lukens' approach stops you and asks a much deeper question. Wait a minute. Before we chase the goal, let's take a good look at the person setting the goal. You see how that completely flips the script? It shifts the focus from the outside world to our inside world. And that phrase again, inside world integrity, it's so important. What Dr. Lukens is really asking is, do we have the internal clarity, the honesty with ourselves, to know if the goals we're chasing are actually ours? Or are they just things we've borrowed from our parents, from society, from what we think we should want? And look, the stakes here are incredibly high. Chasing a goal that isn't really aligned with who you are, that's not just a waste of a few years. It can have absolutely devastating consequences in your life. I mean, listen to this really stark example from Dr. Lukens' work. You can have someone who pours decades of their life into a super prestigious career. They check all the boxes of success, make all the money, and then wake up at 45 feeling profoundly, even dangerously miserable. And it's the exact same thing with relationships, right? How many people chase the idea of being in a relationship with so much force that they blow right past a dozen red flags? They achieve the goal, I'm not alone anymore, only to realize they're in a situation that's way, way worse. So this is the big takeaway here. These horrible outcomes, they're not failures of motivation. It's not because someone didn't try hard enough or didn't have enough fire. No, they are failures of self-awareness that started years and years before, at the very moment the wrong goal was chosen. So what's the solution? How do we actually fix this? Well, Dr. Lukens gives us this brilliant metaphor to help us figure it out. Instead of just staring at the goal itself, we have to look at what's holding it up from underneath. Think of it like this. Your goal, that big career, that relationship you want, that's the play happening on a stage for the whole world to see. It looks great, but the real question is, what's underneath that stage? What's the scaffolding holding it all up? That scaffolding is your inner self, your real values, your history, your honest-to-God desires. And if that scaffolding is weak, the whole stage is going to collapse. So this metaphor gives us a really practical way to move forward. First, identify your goal. That's the story on your stage. But then, and this is the most important part, you have to pause. Before you start hustling and grinding, you stop and you look under the platform. You examine that internal foundation, that scaffolding, and you ask the most critical question of all. Is this story I'm about to live actually true for me? You see, this whole idea represents a massive shift in how we think about success and achievement. The main objective isn't just to get more motivated anymore. The real goal is to become more congruent. Because real, deep, lasting success and happiness, that doesn't come from just forcing yourself to want something harder. It comes from making sure that the things you're chasing on the outside are an honest, true reflection of who you are on the inside. It's all about alignment. This quote from Dr. Lukens just nails it, doesn't it? It's the central question we have to ask ourselves before we dedicate our time, our energy, our life to any big goal. Is the story I'm about to live actually true? So, we'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Maybe the highest form of motivation isn't about finding some raging fire out there. Maybe it's about the quiet, crucial, and sometimes difficult work of looking inward. Because before you go out there and try to change your world, you have to be willing to truly meet the person who wants to change it first.